Boker Tov, everyone. We are continuing in Megilat Ruth, in the book of Ruth, Perek Dalid, Pasuk Zayin. So at this point in the story, Boaz and the Goel, this person Tov, hidden as Ploni Almoni, tells Boaz, you go ahead, you marry Ruth, and you go ahead and take the field and the Nachala of Elimelech, etc. Now, this Pasuk is like the narrator telling us like a piece of information. V'zot lefanim beYisrael, and this was the tradition that was done, formally done in Israel, ala geula v'ala temura, on redeeming someone, meaning someone that passed away, and now his field, should go to a family member. Ve'ala temura, and on this exchange, lekayem kol davar, to establish each thing, to establish ownership, transfer from one to another. Shalaf ish na'alo v'natan lere'ehu. A person would remove his shoe and give it to his friend. Now, the removal of the shoe was in the halachot of yibum. If a person didn't want to do yibum, they would remove the shoe. The woman would remove the shoe of the man and say, "You didn't want to do yibum. You didn't want to marry me, etc." This is a different thing. This is, you want to have an item to do a kinyan with, to do an ownership with. I'm sure you've been to weddings, and when the chatan signs the ketubah, following that is the rabbi gives him a cloth, and in front of the witnesses he should lift up the cloth and show, and you're taking an action, taking an item, lifting it up. That's a form of ownership, that I'm taking upon myself everything that's written here in the ketubah. So they would take off the shoe, give it to a friend, and he would lift it up, and that would be a transfer of ownership. We'll see in a moment why a shoe. V'zot ha'teuda b'Yisrael, and this was the practice of the Jewish nation, how they would kind of transfer this ownership from one to another. So, and then the next pasuk is Vayomer haGoel Boaz kenelecha vayishlof na'alo. The Goel, this person, told Boaz, I'm acquiring it to you, and he took off his shoe, he passed it to the other one, lifted it up, did this kinyan, and the transfer of ownership of Naomi's fields that belonged to Elimelech, and Ruth's field that she got in the ketubah, and we're going to see in a moment what else, and also Ruth herself as a wife to Boaz. It's going to be spelled out for us in the Megillah in the Megillah in a moment. So as far as the shoe, the Ibn Ezra says just something pashut, that a person always is wearing shoes, so the shoe is always available and very easy to kind of take off. He says you're not going to take off a pants or a shirt or something, an item, because what's happening is transfer of ownership is, this is something that belongs to me and I'm kind of transferring it for you. You're going to lift it up, and that shows that field that's down the street over there now belongs to you. It's called kinyan chalifin. So the shoe is always available, and a deeper explanation here, we said, is that the shoe represents the nal, as we said, that the soul of a person. We have a bigger part of our soul is in the heaven, and a small part is here in this world, and our body is like the nal, is like the shoe for that small part, that taking this unbelievable spiritual thing and bringing it down to this world. Only a piece of it is kind of on this world, and our body is like the shoe of the receptacle of that very, very big soul. So we just have a part of it here, as we're able to function here. After we pass, the rest of our soul goes back up with the rest part of our soul. So the nal is an element of the holder of the neshama, and he says,
the nal is very low. It's everybody stepping on it.
Right.
I can get that high.
Well, so that's, they take off leather shoes, right?
You're not allowed to wear, like if someone wore shoes,
Can't wear their shoes. Exactly. There's a lot of things to this. Also, when Moshe Rabbeinu was at the burning bush, they said, take off your shoes, right? They say that the Jews used to pray also without shoes. They say so. There's Kohen Gadol in the Bet HaMikdash. All the Kohanim had to take off the shoes. Yeah, Shlomi takes off. Yeah, take off the shoes. Yeah. So there's this element to it, to be, meaning what's taking off the shoe? The shoe is the physical, and it's reminding us, I want to be fully spiritual with Hashem. I want to try, in this world, my body is the nal, so to speak. So now in removing that shoe, that's why Hashem tells Moshe, take off the shoe to be fully connected to me. Take off your connection to the physical body. So a Kohen does that, and especially in the Bet HaMikdash, they only were allowed to be barefoot onto the holy tile of the Bet HaMikdash. You're not supposed to pray nowadays barefoot. We're not, everywhere we walk, we're not on these higher levels. You want to be dressed in front of a king. You're in front of a king. Right. So like this. So the element here of the shoe, says the Ibn Ezra, is that it's something tamid. You always have shoes. So it's something very easy to make that transfer with. And he says also, just like tamid is, Torah is supposed to be tamid. We always say this pasuk, Shaviti Hashem v'nevi tamid. Always have Hashem in front of you. And the Torah is compared to items that are tamid as well. Torah is compared to water, which is something that you need all the time to survive on. Torah is compared to air, and therefore, which is always in plenty and available, and you need that to live. And it should be in front of you, just like a shoe is tamid, so too here as well. And actually, the Chida explains this pasuk. Avezot lefanim beYisrael. This pasuk that tells us this is how they used to do the transfer, etc. And that's how the Kayem Kol Davar, how they would establish everything. The Chida uses this pasuk in a hidden way to tell us about how one should live. And he says, Vezot, the pasuk starts off Vezot. And that connects to Vezot HaTorah Shesam Moshe, referring to the Torah. A person has to connect to Torah learning. Lefanim beYisrael, it's for the chosen nation, for Yisrael. Al HaGeula ve'al HaTeuda ve'al HaTemura. Allah Geula is on the redemption, referring to our prophets, our Nevi'im, that would always prophesize about doing good and you're going to be redeemed, etc. Ve'ala Temura. Temura means, and this week's parasha talks about this, an exchange, which the Chida explains is that the words in the Talmud Bavli, in the Gemara, are Aramaic, exchanged from Lashon HaKodesh, regular Hebrew. That exchange is referring to your Temura. Teuda is a stamp, which is referring to the Talmud Yerushalmi, the Talmud Bavli, Talmud Yerushalmi. The Kayem Kol Davar. If a person wants to have all this, to mekayem it, it's dependent on our avodat Hashem, on our service of God. And if we're open to doing Hashem's will, to listening to His mitzvot, to learning His Torah, then it will establish ourselves. Shalaf, it means to remove the shoe. That word shalaf is the same gematria as the word, same numerical value as the word kadosh, which means holy, and therefore we make this shoe on this world, this body that we have in this world for the amount of years that it's here, we make it holy on this world to remove, to eventually bring our soul back to its full, pure state at the end. Let's just finish up with now Boaz's quick statements. Now Boaz, he made the acquirement. He tells the elders that are there, the Chol Ha'am and the entire nation, Edim atem hayom, you are witnesses. I acquired everything that belonged to Elimelech, and everything that belonged to Kilion and Machlon from the hands of Naomi. So Elimelech is Naomi's husband. She's alive. She could do that transfer. Machlon was the husband of Ruth, so she could do that transfer. But Kilion was the husband of Orpah. And we saw at the beginning of the story, Orpah went back to her nation. But because she went back to her nation, she kind of forfeited her connection. So the connection goes back to Elimelech, so it's back to the family. And therefore, Naomi also has the availability, opportunity to give that as well to Boaz. The last pasuk of today, the Gamet Ruta Moaviyah. And also, he's saying, I also acquired Ruta Moaviyah, Eshet Machlon, the wife of Machlon. Kaniti li leisha. I acquired her as a wife. Leakim Shem Hamet al Nachalato, to raise the name of the one that passed, of her husband that passed, over his inheritance, to perpetuate, hopefully have children with her, to raise the name of her husband. Velo Yikaret Shem Hamet Mi Mechav, so that the name of the one that passed should not be cut off from among the nation. Umishar Mekomo Edima Temayom, you are witnesses. So this name shouldn't be cut from the Shar Mekomo, from the gates, from the Bedin, from the entire nation. And the Chida also points out here, Shem Hamet al Nachalato, Shem Hamet al Shin Hey Ayin is the numerical value of the word Shlomo, where he says in a prophetic way he's going to have Ruth, and it's eventually going to lead to David and Shlomo. And also when Boaz told Ruth, congratulated her for converting and saying, wow, you're such a special lady. He said to her, "Vatehi maskurtech shelema." We spoke about this pasuk in the past, that your reward should be complete. Shelema means complete. Shelema is the same letter, the same word as Shlomo as well, that you're going to eventually have and merit King Shlomo. So this was also hidden and hinted to in this pasuk. So here is this union now with Boaz, and showing in front of the witnesses, you guys are witnesses that I did this acquiring. And then we're going to see next week what the Bedin answers Boaz back. Don't worry, they weren't harsh on him. They gave him a blessing actually, and we're going to talk about that and see the life of Boaz and Ruth for a few psukim till we end the Megillah. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashya omer, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכות את יספיר אחיו להם תרמזו שנאמר, אדוני חפץ למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידיר